All right, let's finish up these complex numbers. My name is Gregory, and we're going to try to simplify I to the 6. You see we have I to the 6, I to the 23, and some other i's. Oh man, that's 12,403. So that's a pretty big power. So let's figure out how to simplify these. First, it's important to remember the I cycle, which we talked about at the beginning. Remember that it goes I squared, which is negative 1, negative I, 1. And that cycle repeats itself because you can take off powers of I to the 4. So let's just write that down for ourselves. So first we have I, then negative 1, then negative I, then 1, and then it repeats. So here's how to simplify I to the 6. What I recommend you do is take off as many powers of 4 as you can. So in other words, I to the 6 is the same as I4, I to the 2. And we know that I to the 4 is equal to 1, which just goes away. So that means I to the 6 is just equal to I squared, which is negative 1. So all of our answers to these problems should be one of these 4. You have a 1 in 4 chance of getting these right if you're just guessing. So I to the 6 is the same as I4 times I squared, which is just negative 1. So let's do the next one. I to the 23. Can you think of the highest power of 4 that we can take off? Hopefully you thought 20. I to the 23 is the same thing as I to the 20, I to the 3. And remember, we can just follow our power rules. A base times a base, you can add the powers, which hopefully you already knew. So I to the 20 is a power of 4, so that's just equal to 1. So the answer is I to the 3, which is equal to negative I. So basically, you just need to memorize I to the 1, I to the 2, I to the 3, and I to the 4. Have those memorized. Then just take off a power of 4. So check out I to the 3400. That looks ridiculous, but I can actually do this problem in 1 second. And by the way, how do you know if 4 goes into a number or not? There's a little trick you can do. If you look at the last 2 digits of a number, in this case 0, 0, if 4 goes into that, then you know that 4 goes into the entire number. So that's a good trick to know. So I know that 4 will go into this, which means that 3400 is a power of 4. Or you could just do 3400 divided by 4 on your calculator. Yep, 4 goes into it. So that means that I to the 3400 equals 1. And that's it. So I to the 3400 equals 1. Let's do these last few. I to the 25. Now, I know that I can pull out an I to the 24. So here's another way to do them. Say I've got I to the 24. That's equal to 1. So if I'm counting up the cycle, that means I'm going in this direction. So if I count up 1 space, that means that I to the 25 is going to equal I. Or because I to the 24 is equal to 1, I to the 25 just equals I. How about I to the 45? Well, I know that I to the 44 is equal to 1. So if I count up 1 space from that, I get up to I in the cycle. How about I to the 12,403? Well, if I look at the last 2 digits, I can see that 12,400 is divisible by 4, and 12,404 is divisible by 4, because you only need to look at the 2 digits on the right. So let's see, if I start at 12,400, that equals 1, and then I count up the cycle 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3. Another way you could do it is start at 12,404 and count down the cycle 1. So 12,404, go backwards 1. Either way, you end up at negative I. So just to recap, you could start at 12,400, which lands you at 1 on the cycle, and then count up 3 spaces. Or you could start at 12,404 and count down 1 space. Either way, you end up at the same place. So that's how to simplify I to any power, and that process will work on any of these. Like say, for example, you realize that I to the 48 is 1 on here, because it's divisible by 4. Well, count down the cycle 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and you land at I, which is the answer. So do whichever way you feel comfortable with. Know how to tell if a number is divisible by 4, and know the cycle, and you'll quickly be able to simplify I to any power. Remember, the answer will always be one of these 4 when it's just I to a power. And that is complex numbers. We've covered the basics of it. In the next section, we're going to use complex numbers to see that they are answers to certain types of equations. But I really like complex numbers, and we're only scratching the surface. So I'm excited to talk about this some more with you. Have a great day, and I'll see you hopefully in the next section. See you later.